The feng shui of this place is freaking high. And the power of nature, even higher. You combine man-made beautiful shit, that motherfucking feng shui, with powerful nature. You cooking with gas. You cooking with real gas then. Yeah, we changed places. Little Corn Island got a couple nice places up in the beaches, up in the nature. No Wi-Fi's. Maybe that's why I feel so good already here. Because sometimes when you just walk in to some places, you're like, damn, this place is... And then when you walk into some other places and you're like, hey buddy. These dogs don't know me yet, so they might be aggressive. Hey buddy. Hi. Yeah, they're not my friends yet. I haven't gotten them any raw meat. Look at this one. Looks like a Chinese dragon or something. Anyway, this place, cool. At least the first impressions, very good. But we'll see how it is. I'll give you a full tour someday. Anyway, look at these nuts. They got all kinds of nuts over here. Just like these highly educated NPCs. They think they got all the nuts in a row. Just like the ducks in a row. But then, nothing makes me happier than giving little cracks. Making little cracks happen in their mind space. About their worldview. Why I'm making this video? Because I was talking to this one Canadian guy, born in '62, almost the same age as my father, and he was a cool guy. He reminded me of one of my father's friends, and one of my friends from Finland. And we were talking, and these boomers were the key. How the bankers and the technocrats got most of the people captured, trapped, because they gived a lot of the world, not a lot of the wealth, but quite a bit of the wealth to the boomers. The boomers kinda had it easy. They didn't have to pay this and that tax. They could just work. They could get a nice job in a factory helping build the freaking Matrix, and they could buy a house, and they could fucking have 5 kids in that house, and the wife could work. The wife could be a housewife at least until the feminism really kicked in and ruined women's lives. And then some people fight for the feminism, equal rights. Did gals? They had it all back in those days. Just chill in your house that the man could pay kinda easily and take care of your kids. And then and then have a nice time with your husband when he comes back home. Anyway, the boomers were the key, how the bankers and later on the technocrats captured most of the Western civilization. So sometimes these boomers, they have lived quite a long time on this plane of existence without really thinking too deeply about some of these things. And this guy was actually, I really like this guy. I'm gonna tell one story where he was actually very smart. But I could tell he hadn't been questioning much because we were talking about politics a little bit firstly, and he was like hating. Like he couldn't stand people who like Trump. He lived in Canada, right in the border of Minnesota. So he was really excited about Finland and speaking to Finnish people. He actually wanted to film me saying löyly. And so he could say, because he just built a wood fire sauna of his own in his own cabin. So he was really excited about Finland in that manner. But then when we started to talk about Trump and the politics, he was like absolutely hating the Trump. And then I was like, but what do you think about Canadian government? What do you think about the guy, the Bank of England guy, running your shit? What do you think about... You ever gone to your bank and asked, can I have some of my money? Cash form, cash money? Just go do that in Canada. And he was like, he's been doing pretty good. And on that, that was like the first when I went really LOL hard in my mind, like, the Trump is the worst. I cannot even speak to my friends who like Trump at all. But the Canadian guy, the Bank of England economist guy, he's pretty good. Now he said he has done a couple things that I don't really like, but overall he's pretty good. He's looking out for the Canadians. That was the first crack. But on that, I don't really go full attack mode on real life. For most people. For some people who I feel like they're open to it, I go. But especially this guy is much older than me, and we were just kinda having fun and talking. So on that I didn't really go on full attack mode, but I was kinda saying, you know who he worked for? Bank of England. You ever looked into Bank of England? Now that comes to another topic we talked about. So that was like the first crack, but this guy was really big on like educating yourself, going to the university about science. But even he himself had realized not all science is created equal. But he was still like, because he had a high LDL cholesterol value in Canada. And his doctor was like, you need to get into statins. Your cholesterol is too high. You're gonna have a stroke. You're gonna have a heart attack. And this guy was like, I don't know shit about health. So I listened to my doctor. The doctor must know because he has gone to this medical school for years and he knows all about human health. He has gone to the universities and stuff. So he started to take this statin. 6 months in, it was pretty good. His cholesterol was a whole lot lower. And he was like, okay, I feel pretty good. I don't really notice difference. 1 year in, he started to have all these problems. His knees felt like they would freaking explode. He had back pain every morning and throughout the day. He got very exhausted doing very little. He had headaches. And then he did the smart thing. He went to the drug, the statin, and he started to look at these side effects. And he started to overline the side effects that he had. And he was like, oh, I had this, I had that, I had this, I had that. And he went to his doctor and he said, I have all of these. What do you gotta say about this? And the doctor was like, I don't know shit about fuck. I just went to the university. And this is what I got teached. And then I said, do you know how they created the big pharma, all these drugs? And he was like, no. Then I asked him, do you know about John D. Rockefeller? Do he know his business? Do you know how John D. Rockefeller created basically the medical school how it is today? The education of the doctors. Do you know how he created these medicines, these drugs that the doctors push? And he was like, that's pretty interesting. I never knew about that. But he said, I still believe in science. And I kinda chuckled. And I said to him, when man starts to mess with nature, you don't know what's gonna happen. And when money gets involved, one of my favorite ones for these I believe in science people, that I believe in education, I believe in science. The Rockefeller one is good, but do you know who controls the peer-reviewed journals that control the science that all the NPCs learn about? Do you know who controls all of it? Then every one of them say, no, I don't know. And then I go, do you know who Jeffrey Epstein is? And they're like, Then I ask, do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? And they go, some of them go kind of like, yeah, she had something to do with Jeffrey Epstein, and some people know it. And then I say, well, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, the Jeffrey Epstein's little side chick, or actually the side partner chick, her father controls all of the peer-reviewed journals. And they control what they let through in the peer-reviewed journals that form the scientific consciousness, or the space that all the NPCs and the normies learn in the universities. And then people go, oh, I didn't know about that. And then it's on them to start doing some research. Now, that was another one. But then I started to give him this lesson, because we started to talk about, I asked, what do you think about Israel then? And he was like, the bullet could go through Trump, straight through Trump's brain into Netanyahu's brain. That's what he thought about Israel. And he gave me this one joke, and he was like leaning over, kind of whispering it, because it's a edgiest joke. And the joke was, we owe an apology to Germans. And he started to laugh like hysterically. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I really get it. So you can kind of start to see the hypocrisy of his mindset. He understands some things, but some things he's completely clueless, and he don't understand how this thing connects to that thing. Then I ask him, do you know who created Israel? And he was like, the British. And then I asked him, but who controls British? And he was like, the crown. And I was like, but do you know who controls the crown? And he was like, then I asked him, do you know who the Rothschilds are? And he was like, 63-year-old man who believes highly on science and education, higher level of education. And I asked him, do you know who Rothschilds are? And he said, no. Actually, one other thing. The guy was actually staying on this place I'm staying at right now, and he didn't really like the place too much, because it's really rustic, it's really off-grid. And obviously he was an older guy who wants some comforts in life at this point. And the guy who runs this place, he's this older Spaniard who's married to this Nicaraguan woman, and they have a couple kids here. Actually saw them. Very beautiful two girls, very beautiful girls, and they were kind of nice. I didn't talk to them much yet. But they are homeschooling the girls. And obviously for this guy who believes in higher education and science, that's a big no-no. So he was telling me how he talked to the guy who runs this place. And he was like, that guy did a little too many drugs in the 60s. And he started to ask Like how are you homeschooling your kids? Are you following any program or any steps, like keeping a track how they progress? And the guy's kind of like going with the flow, which might not be the right thing. And then the guy said to me like, at least like teach them about history. And the guy told the Canadian that, but the history is written by the winners. And I said to the Canadian guy that that's true, but he should teach them about how it is written by the winners. That's really important information to learn for everybody. And the Canadian guy said to me like, yeah, that's true. Like, exactly. But if you don't even know who the Rothschilds are, how are you gonna know about the history that's written by the winners? You see, this is how you can start making cracks into the worldview of these scientific NPCs, high education NPCs. I believe in the system. Man, it's getting freaking dark here. I believe in the system. But it's still dark. Or just... it's too dark. Whatever. I believe in the system, but I don't know even who the Rothschilds are. This is what you can do in real life, to start educating other people, sharing that base knowledge, because that's the most important knowledge. And most of these universities, they don't really teach about a lot of the base knowledge. Now if you do some engineering stuff, maybe they got a lot of base knowledge, so you can build all these man-made things. But as you can see, the Spanish guy, he could build quite a bit of beautiful man-made things that don't ruin our physiology with his little knowledge. And some of these engineering things that you need a lot of base knowledge about technology and mathematics and physics. It might be a little hard to learn, and it might be pretty impressive, kind of alien-like stuff. But when you do it, those are the raw chickens. There's also a lot of raw chickens over here, so I gotta say, this place is making me hungry. So a lot of that technology, it comes with maybe a couple pros, but quite a bit of those side effects, like those drugs that you still kind of believe, even though actually he didn't believe in that drug anymore at all. He was actually completely against that drug, but he was still believing in science. Anyway, nice lesson. It's starting to rain. Nice lesson for everybody there. Share the base knowledge with everybody. And with certain people, you gonna have to be a little pokey, but not too aggressive. And for some people, you can go full in barking, fist fighting their freaking brain. But that's it. See you guys later.